Margaret Ann Windsor, kidnapped in 41 and brought to Moulton, Alabama, given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. Both twins were dead. Carl and Peggy, they were killed by their mother. They were born out of wedlock, Lina Dempsey. So I just put this on a tape just before this one, and I've got a lot of tapes if anyone cares to go back and look at them. I wrote a book, medical malpractice book, real quick to give you where I'm going. And involved in it was Larry McDonald, congressman doctor. Whether he actually owned Piedmont, he and his family, they ran it. Now, he was U.S. congressman. Now, I was writing about him, and then his plane went down in August the 31st of 83, and that's when I was flown out to Larry Flint's, because the person that shot him was programmed to shoot him. And he says here that I knew who was responsible for his shooting, and they made a pauper out of me, and they also, these are my words, a beggar out of me. My sons Mark and Scott, this is an old photo, and I have no idea where they are. Haven't since 83. This is one of the mind control murders. This is Mark and Scott, so you can go from there on what's happening with the patterns. The Mark and Scott are astronauts for NASA. NASA was based in Huntsville, and that's where they took me 40 miles when they kidnapped me from there to Moulton. Now then, she is a U.S. congressional person, and the mass shootings there were done in patterns, and there's a lot more to it other than Mark and Scott, and they were twins, and she was a congressperson, and I just ran for Congress. A lot more in the patterns. So now then, I want to show before this tape goes off, I've made some tapes just now, probably about 3 of them. I went back to a doctor, Jonas Robicher, who in no way do I ever want to infer that this man was anything but an angel. If there are angels, which, I'm not saying that. I'm using it as he was a decent, good, warm human being who told the truth and paid a price for it. And that should be known. He was director of law and psychiatry at Emory University, and that's where the Center for Disease Control was then. I don't know about now, but because I don't keep up with it that close, it's hard to even live, for me to live. So I was investigating all these mind control murders, and the deaths of Warren and Rosina Matthews were forensic pathologists at Piedmont Hospital, where Larry McDonald practiced, the congressman doctor. And there were deaths there. Gene Strokerman was shot on Christmas Eve. I think it was 76. I'm not sure. It probably had to be then. She had gone to Dr. Robicher for legal advice, and he was a psychiatrist at Emory. He referred her to my attorney, Eugene Kaiser. He was my attorney about that time. And he's the one who gave me the files. He said the police had taken most of them, which were illegal. And this is coming, Eugene Kaiser was a former Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia DA, okay? And he was my attorney then. So Dr. Robicher, the beautiful man, and by the way, he wrote The Power of Psychiatry and a whole lot of books that were published by Lippincott. Now, for whatever reason, The Power of Psychiatry wasn't. And by the way, he included, although I'd never met him, the last chapter he lists, I think it was 10, of the cases I wrote about in my medical malpractice book, MD, A License to Kill. And that's when Larry McDonald, while I was writing, it was shot in Lawrenceville. The person was programmed. I had a letter from the FBI, June the 23rd, 79. I had antifreeze put in me April Fool Day of 80. It's an April Fool joke to everybody that they kidnapped me, Queen Victoria II, and took over Great Britain. I mean, they used it as a launching pad because they installed George the Sixth, the one in the movie. He's illegal, so he's not George the Sixth. But they signed illegal treaties allowing the United States to put the military bases all over British soil and use it as a launching pad to take the world over. Now, Robichaud was killed. I'll go ahead and say it. I know he was. He died in about 81. And Jimmy Carter, former Governor Jimmy Carter, replaced him there as director of legal. He's not a psychiatrist, so, but the offices were, I think, the same there. Well, Dr. Robichaud was professor or director of law and psychiatry till he died. He was murdered. Warren and Rosina were forensic excuse me, I've done so many of these, and by the way, maybe you'll know why I'm doing this. They're mowing with the big mowers outside and gas blowers, so I'm skipping here. I have a chemical disorder that I mean to tell you about before this goes out. Anyway, if this sounds scattered, Dr. Robichaud was killed. He's a good, decent guy. Gene Srokerman, the one who I wrote about in the book that never got published, I was filled full of antifreeze. Gene Srokerman was shot on Christmas Eve and smashed up against the Christmas tree on the wall there. She was suing the psychiatrist. Now, I want to make a point of this because this is very important if it's ever told. She was working in the office of a Dr. Hardiman, a psychiatrist, and he has far-reaching in all this, believe me, if it's ever told. Now then, what I really want to get to is I told you about the mind control murders and that. I wanted to tell you about coming up here, and I don't have that much time left. In '86, jobs shut down everything. When I've been able to get a place, and I'm just going to list a couple because this is the norm, and it's killed me over the years. I've been on the bed at times, couldn't move, and people take it as a joke. The FBI, who's doing all this, and the law enforcement helps them. They're afraid of them. Everybody has something to hide, and they didn't have to do this. Anyway, they had rather kill the messenger, me, or the Queen of England than go up against the FBI. Now then, I'm just going to list some here that are places that, the only place I had to live. These are federally funded Section 8. They broke the law, the management, everybody got in on it. This is Melinda's Way in Christiansburg next to Blacksburg, where Virginia Tech is, and the shootings and all the mind control murders happen. Now then, I even went so far as to go there, and you know what? That's one of Moore's places. I'd been at Joseph Stream in Bedford, and they put the stuff in there about to kill my veins. You should see my veins and the pain and all that happened to me. And this is with everybody knowing it. And I got the letter back from Melinda, by the way. Her last name's Scott, and that's not by accident. She told me I didn't fit their, quote, criteria. It was best that I didn't go any further with trying to find a place to live there. Richfield, here in Salem. Edinburgh. All these people went along with it. You know what? They hate my guts. I did nothing to these people. They should be locked up, charged with assault, battery, conspiracy, all of it, thrown at them. Hasn't happened. Only God could do it. Now then, this is going to go out, so I don't know. This is going to be the second on this one. I might as well shut it down now because I wanted to tell about Carl Barton, the retired Virginia State Trooper, when he took me here. His wife did. So off Starkey Road. He took me there. His wife Linda did August the 14th of '09. And I'm going to go ahead and shut this off and start the next one.